Who says you can't have fun on a work night? Well, I got to see the film Power of the People in the cinemas. This is going to be very much stream of consciousness review, shout outs, that type of thing, as I just got home just a little bit ago after seeing it. I highly enjoyed it. That's the first highlight. Second highlight is stay tuned. There's a nice little surprise in the video. A couple quick shout outs. First of all, to Angela and Marcia. Angela, thank you so much for being a new subscriber to the channel. I hope you enjoy it. And your mom, Marcia, very nice people that sat next to me. Steve, good to see you again, my friend, as we all got to get together and hang out. Also, shout out to Chachi La Perrette. Chachi, thank you so much. We'll be getting to that in a little bit. The film itself, now, I think the visuals look amazing. I mean, my God, it looks like it was filmed yesterday. This is the one-to-one concerts from 1972, Madison Square Garden, with John, Yoko, Elephant's Memory Band. Now, at this point in his career, he's doing Some Time in New York City as the album. So he's the most overtly political, most outwardly political, I would say, during this time period in his life. So with the film itself, you get a lot of John songs. You do get a lot of Yoko songs. And you know what? I'm going to address those first. First of all, maybe they're your thing, maybe they're not. But you know what? I was impressed. I'm going to say it. I was impressed. Maybe not all the vocalizations, maybe even my thing, but you know what? First of all, for someone who's 5'0" to belt out that type of power on stage in front of 20, 30,000 people, however many Madison Square Garden holds, that takes guts. Any detractors out there, anybody out there, detractor, fan, whatever, I would defy you to get up on a stage and, first of all, just be able to do that. Just be able to scream whatever outwardly with a heck of a lot of lung power. And really, this is an observation I made, and when I was talking to Steve later, he says, yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. Very punk rock. Now, again, this is 1972. Punk rock doesn't start to come into the consciousness till what, 1975, 76 maybe? Definitely by 1977 with the Sex Pistols, right? Kicking down the doors, God Save the Queen and all that type of thing. And some of Yoko's vocals, I didn't mean that to rhyme, but, kind of a bit of like a Johnny Rotten type of thing to it. Kind of intriguing, I know the material, I think, was being chosen as probably some of the more accessible stuff, for the most part, that she was doing up on stage. So again, a lot of power, a lot of energy, man. She's obviously still with us as the taping of this video. Powerful force, and someone that John really looked up to, collaborated with, and I respect that. I respect that a lot. So, on to John's performances. Now, we've seen a lot of footage and clips of John. There's songs like Hound Dog. We get Come Together, which is the only Beatles song in the film. We, of course, get a lot of tracks from Sometime in New York City. We get the electric piano version of Imagine, which was quite nice. What else do we get here? Instant Karma, kind of also on electric piano, organ, electric piano, I think. Not a musician myself, please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Just a heck of a lot of good footage. And it's interesting to see just sort of the people as well. Sort of the people, the fashions of the time. And I kind of wondered in the back of my head, what happened to some of these people? Like, what would their stories have been? Once they left this event, I mean, certainly some of them are no longer with us. Some of them have grown much older in the ensuing, 50 plus years, almost 55 years next year. And a lot of the audio, of course, is in the one-to-one box set that came out earlier. Now, I'm hoping there'll be a physical release of this. I'm guessing streaming at the very least, of course, but, let's get a physical release out there. Now, after the credits roll, after the concert itself, you see some nice credits and everything of, the folks that this was helping. This was a benefit for children at the Willowbrook Institute. I covered that in another video, but that was a lot of a sad situation going on with rampant abuse and everything at that particular point. So that's kind of the whole reason, for the concerts. And at the end, we get an all-star, big extended jam of Give Peace a Chance, very much an early 70s kind of funky version of it, which I quite like, actually. Also, if you could seek out the rehearsal version of that, that's not included on any official release that I know of, definitely seek it out. It's quite worth hearing in and of itself. But again, you get folks coming up there. You get Stevie Wonder up there singing with John and Yoko and the band. Let's see, you get Geraldo Rivera. Yes, That Geraldo Rivera, the one and the same that you're thinking of. Let's see, who else? Members of an old kind of 50s tribute group at the time, Sha-Na-Na. They're kind of... I remember seeing that show kind of as a kid in the maybe late 70s, early 80s. I don't know. I know it existed. I know it's not a fever dream of some sort. I promise I was clean and sober throughout this entire thing, so no funny cigarettes. What else do we have there besides that? We do get a shot of Phil Spector. Take that as you will. But a whole bunch of folks that were big at the time. Oh, also Allen Ginsberg, I think, was up on stage. I think I saw Kurt Vonnegut in the audience, famous author, of course, when they're showing right before the concert itself. So everybody's singing along. They're great. They're bringing the whole thing to a dramatic close. John is in good form vocally. And it makes me wonder what the planned 1981 tour would have looked like, because that would have been a whole different, thing, a whole different bunch of material, things like that was being planned at the time. So on to the prize. Well, there was a nice surprise. There was a question that was asked. Chachi, this is a second shout out to you. Thank you so much. It's being guarded well with other items that I will reveal in a future video. Stay tuned for that within the next few months. So there's a trivia question being asked of the audience. John and Yoko mailed items to 50 of the world's leaders with a letter instructing them to plant them. What were those items? Play the Jeopardy theme in your head for a few seconds. Okay, so the answer was acorns. I raised my hand, I said acorns. In the past, I wouldn't have been as confident to do that, but hey, as I knew the answer, I was the first to raise my hand, and I think the only one. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't see everybody from my perspective, but raised my hand, and of course got this as a nice prize. First, the plastic wrap to keep it. John and Yoko Double Fantasy for free. Very cool, by the way. Geffen Records you got there. Get the maple leaf right there. Geffen Records logo. John and Yoko on the back. 1980. Of course, we get the lyrics sheet, which is quite nice. Chachi, I'm trying to remember the name of the place. I may update that in the comments later. I know it was a local music place, but you get the lyrics sheet right here. Now, of course, we get the record itself. I mean, what good is that if you're not going to have the record itself right here? Again, used, some wear and tear and stuff like that, but it definitely has some character. Right there. Right there. But I like that. I like that with some of the items. Not everything has to be sonically sealed. Besides, if I'm looking for sonically sealed, I know where to find things and get things sealed and everything like that. Buy one for the collection, buy one for display if you can. If you can afford it. That's my thing. So, you know what? Just a very nice little parting gift and prize. I was hoping they would have had posters. Steve, I know you asked one of the concessions folks. They said, unfortunately, no. The place I saw it at, for all the local folks out there, Dedham Showcase Cinemas. Unfortunately, the one near me closed down, but Dedham Showcase is nice. It's a nice facility, everything like that, within Legacy Place. Lots of shops there. Definitely its own mini-city. So overall, a very worthy film. I enjoyed the heck out of it. I'm happy I won the prize. I was not expecting that. There was no foreknowledge, nothing like that. So again, just shout out to the folks I already shouted out in the video. I hope everybody's enjoying the content. I will have something up again probably later this weekend. Another Ringo item, so be on the lookout for that. Some folks I told, other folks, you'll have to wait and see what it is. So other than that, I guess I better get ready for the real world, which will be calling me. So have a great one, everybody. I'll see you in the next video.